Hi, I'm Ethan, I love muzzleloading, and this is your muzzleloading news for the week. August was a pretty light month really when it came to muzzleloading news, but as we're heading now into September, we're starting to see some more information come out from the muzzleloading industry as a whole. The first thing I want to cover is the Blackhorn 209 restock that we're seeing kind of around the country right now. It's looking like the things that we were hearing earlier this year about Hodgdon needing to fulfill Western Powder's Walmart contract were really true here. If you're looking for Blackhorn 209 right now, the best place to look for it is at your local Walmart. I'm not sure how long that's going to last, if that's going to be a whole year thing or if that's just going to be a before the hunting season thing, but we're seeing Walmart restock and carry a ton of hunting supplies right now that we'll be talking about a little bit later. Now, if you're looking for Blackhorn 209 and you want to make sure you're getting some of the new bottle over one of the old bottles, I want to tell you that as far as we know right now, there's no formula difference between the new and the old bottles. But to tell, it looks like all the new bottles have the black cap, and on the label on the one side you'll see a Hodgdon Powders logo instead of what we see on the original Blackhorn cans from Western Powders, where we have the red cap and the Western Powders logo and information on the side of the label. Again, as far as we know, there is no chemical difference, no mixture difference here. It's still the same Blackhorn 209 that everybody knows and loves, but we just have a little bit of a bottle change denoting what's new and what's old. Talking about some of the other muzzleloading supplies that we're waiting for, CVA rep Rick Taylor commented in a Facebook post earlier this week. CVA is waiting to pick up the containers of their new rifle shipment from port right now. So they're seeing a little bit of a delay here, but the containers with the muzzleloaders hopefully have landed at a U.S. port, and they're just waiting to get them to their headquarters so they can send them out to their distributors and get them online for sale for muzzleloader hunters looking for any of the new CVA line that they announced here in 2021. That's the Acura X series, the Paramount HTR, and some of their older muzzleloaders now that people are still having a hard time finding, being the Paramounts, the normal Acuras, the Wolves, Optimas, and things. So they've seen quite a delay here, but that's really across the board. I spoke with a representative from the Night Rifles marketing team earlier this week, and they said they still don't have a release date on the Night Peregrine, but that is hopefully coming very soon. They said, quote, coming soon. I think internally, Night probably has a release date for the Night Peregrine. They just haven't been releasing it yet, which, thinking about the manufacturing and supply shortages that we've seen on top of the shipping delays, it doesn't really matter right now if you have something in hand because the logistics and shipping systems are so backlogged right now. So it's a kind of a mess again as we head towards the holidays this year. I think the holiday shopping season is going to be a little bit of a mess kind of as we shift away from hunting and muzzleloader seasons into that. So that being said, order your supplies early. I mentioned in another video that if you wanted to plan your winter muzzleloading projects, now was the time to do it, and I'm going to still say that in this video. If you want to build a kit, now's the time to get that on order and get it shipping to your door. On top of the muzzleloaders themselves, as well as the powders and propellants, we're seeing still an issue getting caps and bullets. I've seen a ton here the last week of people being able to find CCI number 11 caps at their local Walmart, and we're starting to see projectiles, bullets, and things arrive at Walmarts as well. There's a inside worker at one of the Walmart distribution centers here for the eastern half of the country sharing some information, photos of product that is being shipped out to stores here on the eastern side of the country. So really appreciate some of that insight there. So we should start seeing some more of these products hitting store shelves pretty soon. So if you're like me and you're not a super big fan of Walmart, I know a lot of places they aren't even selling hunting or firearms gear or supplies anyway. I think your next best bet for getting some of these supplies is going to be some of the online retailers like Midway and like muzzleloaders.com. We're seeing these supplies hit these major distributors, and in talking to them, they get there in the morning and they're ready to ship by the afternoon. So they're wanting to get these supplies out to customers. They know we're all waiting for these supplies and need to get them as soon as possible for the muzzleloading hunts that are coming up. I will say that the new CCI caps, the number 11 caps that we're seeing restocked here recently, are very reasonably priced. A lot of people are buying them for more than $10 or $15 a tin. online to secure some caps. And at some of the Walmarts that we're seeing where people report back on, they're on sale for less than $6 a tin, which is a good deal. So if you're maybe have been hesitant to buy some of the price gouged caps over the summer, check out your local Walmart, maybe do some calling around or checking their online inventory if you can, and see if you can pick up some of these caps. Shifting now to the more traditional side of muzzleloading, as we head into September, we're very fortunate now to see a ton of flyers coming up for muzzleloading events across the country. A lot of our living history events and our rendezvous are back again after kind of a year of hiatus here. So I'll be showing some of the flyers here, and I'll have a link in the description to ilovemuzzleloading.com where you can check out the flyers in full resolution, download, save them, and print them off if you want to share with your friends. It's really exciting to see these events coming back. There's been a lot of concern about some of these locally owned and locally operated events over the last year, if being shut down last year would really affect them. And it looks like everybody's being optimistic here, and we're going to be able to see these events through this year, which is really important for these local historic societies that host these events. So if any of these are in your area, or if you don't see an event in your area and you know of one that you want to see on ilovemuzzleloading.com, shoot me an email, ilovemuzzleloading@gmail.com. I'll put it up and advertise it for free on the website. Just want to make sure that these events get some publicity and start gathering some of the attention of the new muzzleloaders that we've been seeing get into the hobby and the sport over the last 2 years. And then to wrap up the muzzleloading news for the week, this week I want to talk about some news that my friend Darren Binder at muzzleloaders.com shared late this week. Darren shared an Instagram reel talking about how one of the investment groups who've purchased a big chunk of Remington arms is looking to continue production of the Remington 700 Ultimate Muzzleloader. I have a link to the press release from October of last year where Round Hill announced that they would be acquiring this big chunk of Remington. At the time, though, we weren't really sure if the Remington Ultimate Muzzleloader would be included in that production. Muzzleloaders aren't nearly as popular as Remington's other arms, but with what Darren's saying here, it sounds like the community is pretty optimistic that we're going to see these Ultimate Muzzleloaders back in production. Right now, the Ultimate Muzzleloader is listed on Remington's website. It's not set up to add to your cart, though. You can compare it to some of Remington's other firearms, though. So hopefully, as we get through kind of these manufacturing issues and raw material shortages, we can start to see these Remington Ultimate Muzzleloaders back up and running and back into hunters and shooters' hands. Now, that in itself, isn't very exciting news. We're not seeing them in stores right now for hunting season or anything. But what I hope to see out of this is kind of a resurgence of what you can make fun of me if you want, but I'm calling the inline wars. Inline manufacturing has, I think, slowed down a little bit here, especially with Remington's troubles. We're seeing CVA, Traditions, and Knight continue to push forward on all this, but losing Remington out of that fold, we kind of lost a major player here. You think about a quarter of the big inline manufacturing market just kind of dropping out here over the last couple of years. And seeing Remington step up and maybe this large investment firm behind them with some big money capital could start maybe innovating some here and start pushing the inline market to another level here. Not that it hasn't been. In one of the muzzleloaders.com podcast episodes, they talked to Jason Sebo from CVA about the innovations they've been coming out with over the past few years. And he said in that interview that they kind of thought they are at the limit here until they recently discovered kind of a new coating they might be playing with here in the future. But just with that notion, that they've kind of reached where they're going to be at for a little while, the muzzleloaders are really cool that we have right now, but it would still be really neat to see where we can take things with modern muzzleloader manufacturing. The custom guys are really doing a lot that the big manufacturers aren't doing, and maybe Remington getting back into the game can kind of be a nipping at the heels here for everybody to say, well, we can't sit back. We got to keep pushing the bar a little bit more. That's what I'd really like to see. I'd really like to see some more competition, more innovation, because it really makes it an exciting time to be in the muzzleloading community. Because, really it always is. Muzzleloading is always cool. But seeing these changes and these innovations keeps pushing the limits here, and we can start to see more things that make the muzzleloading community unique and interesting for new muzzleloaders to get involved with that they may not have originally. Now, I don't think Remington is going to come out the gate and start pushing these other manufacturers to change a whole lot, especially if they don't change the Ultimate Muzzleloader much from what it was when they released it earlier on in the 2000s. Right now, when you look at the other muzzleloaders on the market, the Ultimate Muzzleloader is kind of behind the times. Modern muzzleloaders right now, if you're not pushing to 400 or 500 and beyond yards, you're not really pushing the envelope here. So I think Remington has a little bit of catch up to do to catch up to Traditions, Night, and CVA in getting their muzzleloader back on the market. I think right now their marketing for it is you can extend your muzzleloading target out to 300 yards, and right now it's kind of like, yeah, we know we can do that with all these other muzzleloaders that have been out. So I don't know that people are really going to drop their newer modern muzzleloaders to go back to the ultimate muzzleloader right now. I'd really like to see Remington step up the game and bring some of the long range, precision rifle shooting that they have in some of their other centerfire firearms back to the muzzleloaders that were like we're seeing CVA and Bergara doing with the Paramount line. In closing, I want to bring attention real quick to a fundraiser. I love muzzleloading, but I love kids getting involved with muzzleloading even more than I like muzzleloading just in general. And earlier this year, a young friend of mine, Wyatt Frist, was in a terrible car accident, and for a while there it was real touch and go for him, and we weren't really sure how he would come out of it, really. He was in the hospital for several weeks, and thankfully he was back shooting his muzzleloading shotgun here in June. But a group of friends are working to organize a small fundraiser to help support Wyatt's ongoing needs and support his father, who's his primary caretaker, in continuing to take care of him and making sure that he can get the best care possible. I'm going to be producing another short video. We'll have a link here that you can check out to find out more about the fundraising efforts that are going on. But I really would appreciate, even if you don't know Wyatt, he's a really fine young man, check out the link to the GoFundMe in the description below. Any amount that you can donate to help out Wyatt and his father would be greatly appreciated. Wyatt is a great young man who loves muzzleloading, and his father has done a great job taking care of him and raising him, and I really expect that to continue forward here. So any support that you can hand out, $1, $2, $5 would be greatly appreciated, and knowing that it comes from the muzzleloading community here would make it all the more special. So a link in the description for that. Really appreciate it if you could check that out. Once again, I'm Ethan. I love muzzleloading. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to learn more about anything covered in this video today or anything else related to muzzleloading, please check out ilovemuzzleloading.com. Thank you.